All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about what one clinical psychologist is calling the single most important parenting strategy. And, I want to say this right up front. While we're going to use examples of parents and kids, the strategy we're breaking down here, trust me, it applies to any meaningful relationship in your life. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been so stressed out, so tired, so completely overwhelmed that you just snapped at someone you love? Yeah, of course you have. We all have. It's this universal experience. And man, it is just an awful feeling. Dr. Becky Kennedy, the psychologist behind all this, she tells a story that's probably going to sound painfully familiar. It's a Sunday night. She's in her kitchen. She's exhausted from the week behind her. She's anxious about the week ahead. She finally finishes making dinner. Her son walks in, takes one look at the table, and just whines, "Chicken again, disgusting." And that's it. That's the final straw. She snaps. She yells at him. Things get heated. He screams, "I hate you," and bam, the door slams. And this right here, this is what we're calling the rupture. It's that moment of disconnection, right? The mistake. And it's almost always followed by this horrible wave of shame and self-loathing where your brain just starts screaming, "What is wrong with me? I am the worst parent. I've ruined everything." But here's the crucial thing to get. This is not some unique personal failing of yours. It's actually a feature of being human, not a bug. All parents yell. All parents lose their cool or say the exact wrong thing. The real problem, the gap in our knowledge, is that nobody ever tells us what to do in the moments after that rupture happens. Do we just, pretend it didn't happen and move on? So to figure out the right next step, we first have to understand what's at stake. Like, what is actually happening inside a child's head when we don't go back and fix that moment of disconnection? What's going on when we just leave them alone in their room to cool off? Well, you gotta put yourself in their shoes. A kid is alone, they're feeling these huge, overwhelming emotions, and their safe person, their parent, just became a really scary person. So to try and make sense of that terrifying situation, all by themselves, a child really only has one coping tool they can reach for, and that tool is self-blame. And this is where a little thought can turn into this toxic internal story. The child's logic goes something like this. Mom yelled at me. My mom is good. So if she yelled, it must be my fault. There has to be something wrong with me. I'm the one who makes bad things happen. It's a story they write, not because it's true, but because it helps the world feel predictable and safe again. And this quote, wow, it just explains the psychology behind this perfectly. It's actually an adaptive move for a child to decide that they are the problem. Because think about the alternative. The idea that your parent, your source of safety, food, your entire world, is unpredictable and dangerous. That is just way too terrifying for a little kid to handle. It feels safer to believe you're the sinner in a world run by a good God. Now, here's why this is so incredibly important. Those stories we write as kids, they don't just vanish. They become the blueprint for our adult anxieties. That nagging feeling of, I'm not good enough, or I'm just too much for people, or that constant low-level anxiety. So often, those are just the echoes of these stories we wrote for ourselves when we were left all alone after a fight. But here is the really, really good news. We don't have to be perfect parents who never ever mess up. That's impossible. We just have to get really good at this one powerful strategy: repair. See, the goal isn't to avoid ruptures. They're inevitable. The goal is to get good at reconnecting after they happen. So what is repair exactly? It's really simple. It's the act of going back. You circle back to that moment of disconnection. You take complete responsibility for your part in it, and you say out loud how you think your actions made the other person feel. Now, it's super important to understand this is not the same as a typical apology. An apology is often about shutting the conversation down, right? Look, I'm sorry I yelled. Can we please just move on? It's about closure. A good repair does the exact opposite. It's designed to open a conversation up. It's all about connection. And this, for me, is the most mind-blowing part. Repair basically lets you be a time traveler. You can't go back and erase the fact that you yelled. That still happened. But what you can do is go back and change the meaning of what happened. You get to rewrite the end of the story. You change the lesson from "I'm unlovable" to "My parent is human and makes mistakes, but they always come back for me." Okay, so right about now, you're probably thinking, this sounds amazing, but what do I actually say? What do I do? Perfect. Let's get into the how-to part. It's a really simple, practical framework. It's a two-step process. And listen, the order here is absolutely critical. You have to start with yourself first. You just can't offer genuine calm and compassion to another person if you haven't found a little bit for yourself first. So, step one is repairing with yourself. And what that means is separating your identity, who you are, from your behavior, what you did. You need to say to yourself, I am a good parent who is having a really hard time. Now, this is not an excuse for bad behavior. It's the thing that stops the shame spiral and gets you grounded, so you actually have the emotional energy to go fix things. So once you're feeling a little more grounded, you're ready for step two, repairing with your child. And there's a simple 3-part formula for this. First, you just name what happened. Second, you take 100% responsibility for your part. And third, you state what you're working on or what you tried to do differently next time. And what does that actually sound like in real life? It can be as simple as this. This is a 15-second conversation. But in those 15 seconds, you're completely rewriting your child's internal narrative from I'm bad to I am safe and I am loved, even when things get hard. That is a massive life-altering upgrade.
Now, just as important as knowing what to do is knowing what not to do, because a lot of us accidentally fall into this trap of the not repair. We think we're making things better, but we're actually secretly making them worse.
Oh, we've all done this, haven't we? A good rule of thumb, any repair that has the word but in it is probably a not repair. That little word just negates the entire apology, and what it does is it sneakily puts the blame right back on the kid. It teaches them, your behavior caused my reaction, which is just fundamentally untrue. So at this point you might be thinking, this is great, but my kids are teenagers. Or maybe even, wow, I've made so many mistakes over the years, it's just too late for me. I want to finish up with a little thought experiment that shows you why that is absolutely not true. Okay, just for a second, I want you to really imagine this. Imagine your phone rings right now, and it's one of your parents. Or, if they're no longer around, imagine you find an old letter they wrote to you. And in that phone call, or in that letter, they say something like this. Hey, I know this is totally out of the blue, but I've been thinking a lot about when you were growing up. And there were times that must have felt really bad for you, and I want you to know, you were right to feel that way. Those moments were not your fault. Those were times when I was struggling, and for all of that, I am so, so sorry. Now, if hearing those words, even just imagining them right now, would change something inside of you today as a full-grown adult, then just imagine the unbelievable impact an actual repair will have on your child. Their life story is so much shorter, which means it's so much more open to a rewrite. So please, remember this. It is never, ever too late.